Good morning, my dear students. I welcome you all for the bioscience class. In this class, we are going to be discussing about two important topics from our lesson, that is aeration in roots and conduction in plants. We have already have an introduction about conduction in plant. How does the conduction takes place? As you know that whatever the air that are going to be enter from the stomatals, they enters into the cell body into the network like structure, and the space which are going to be present in the leaves are much larger when you compared with the other parts such as stem and root surface. So the air space that are lined with the water where the oxygen is being dissolved in it, and this process is going to be continuous. It's clear that the cells which are present in the leaves are having the intercellular space, and the cells which are present in the stem and root surface will be not having a particular intercellular space. So because of the having an intercellular space, this intercellular space will be highly coated with the water. Because of having a water, the oxygen that has entered will be dissolved in the water, and the process is going to be carried. The oxygen that has dissolved in the water passes to the pore cell with the pore cell walls into the cytoplasm. Here the glucose which has been broken down into carbon dioxide and water with the liberation of energy. So whenever the water that has been dissolved in the oxygen enters into the cytoplasm, at this moment the glucose which is present in the plant are going to be completely broken down into number of pieces, and they produce the two major important substance. One is carbon dioxide and other one is water. Along with the carbon dioxide and water, liberation of energy takes place. The carbon dioxide passes out into the air by the space by the similar method. So what however the oxygen has entered, the same process will be carried out. The whole system works by the diffusion. As the oxygen is used up by the cell, gradients develops between the cells and the air in the space. So whenever the oxygen is going to be diffuses into whenever the diffusion takes place, automatically the gradients that are going to be developed between the cell and air space. Similarly, between the air, the space, and air outside the stomata and lenticle, and so the oxygen pass in. So in the recovering of it, whenever the carbon dioxide is going to be getting out of the body, at that moment the oxygen which is present in the stomata and the oxygen which is present in the lenticles may enters into it. In the same way, as more the carbon dioxide is being releases, the cell gradually occurs with the reverse direction, and the process of going to be passes into the environment. Whenever the oxygen levels are going to be increases, at that moment gradient levels are going to be increases. Due to the increasing of gradient levels, the percentage of oxygen will be also increases into the high level. This process will be very easy. You can see in the gif in a clear format. Whenever oxygen has been trying to enters into the lenticle, from there it passes to the other space and enters of a gradient level. Here we are going to be discussing about the next topic, that is aeration of root. What is aeration of root? Aeration is nothing but a intake of oxygen, intake of a particular gas material, so that are going to be helping for the production of energy is called as a aeration. Most of the plants can aerate their roots by taking into the oxygen through the lenticles or the surface of the root system. They obtain the oxygen and the airspace exiting between the soil particles. So you can see that whatever the terrestrial animals are there, they take the oxygen, they are going to be taking the carbon dioxide by using the stomatal region and lenticle region and so root surface area. And when the oxygens are going to be present, when the carbon dioxide are going to be are completely filled with the airspace existence between the soil particles, but the plant which grows in the wet places, due to the lack of oxygen, they are adapted to the water lag condition, having a much larger space, much larger airspace, which are going to be connected to the stem of the aerial root, and making the diffusion is going to be taken place in such type of plant. Here the perfect example to understand about the aeration. Do you know that we are not going to be having the problem with the terrestrial plants, but the problem is going to be raised in the plants which are going to be grown in a wet area, especially in the marsh areas. What do you mean by wet areas? The plants which are going to be growing near to the seas, near to the beaches. Such type of plants are continuously not are unable to are unable to get the sufficient amount of this carbon dioxide. At this moment, what they are going to be doing, they develop a special type of tissues. They develop the special type of transport system which are going to be connected to the stem. These roots which are going to be moving out of the soil and start to have the aeration from the outer surface, which are going to be playing an important role and helps in a diffusion. The most usual adaptation which is going to be observed has followed as halocene. Here, whatever the system, whatever the plants which are going to be present in that wetway areas, they develop a particular system called as a halo system. Next time, when you have been near to the pond or marsh area, try to cut the plant and observe whether the plants are having the hollow nature or it is going to be stemmy nature. Try to observe it. When you try to observe it, it's very clear. The stem will be little bit of hollow nature. This clearly prove what is the reason why the stem is going to be completely hollow nature. Because it is going to be taking the food. It is to take the oxygen to avoid the deficiency of oxygen.